Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the UGH podcast. This is episode 13. It feels like it's been a while since we've done a real episode because of all the tier list stuff we've been putting out. But, I think this was a really good conversation between the boys. We talked about being in our 20s because at the time of recording, Jason had just turned 25. I am 25, and Ronald is 24, turning 25 this year. And Lawrence is just starting his 20s. So just different perspectives about what it's like being in our 20s and the pressures that come with that from society about being in our 20s, being young and able and stuff like that. So I hope you guys find our conversations insightful or at least relate to it in some way. Make sure as always to follow our socials at UGH.podcast on both Instagram and TikTok for more clips, behind the scenes stuff, extra stuff, as well as interact with us on our questions for the podcast to provide your input. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. Listen to us on Podbean, Spotify, or Apple Podcasts if you're on the go. Hope you guys enjoy the podcast episode. We'll see you guys next time. Take care. Bye.
I thought of something funnier than 24.
Let me hear it.
25.
You want to introduce?
Yeah. Hey guys, welcome back to the UGH podcast. We're finally having a normal podcast.
Welcome to episode 5 of the tier list.
Yeah.
No, please,
Episode
no more
5.
tier list, please.
Today we are rating ethnic groups. No,
Hey yo, hey
no, we're
yo.
gonna cancel.
Ethnic groups. So I think, today we're gonna be talking about our mid-20s because we just recently had a big birthday pass. It was Jason's
Lawrence!
birthday.
Yeah.
Oh, Lawrence! Yeah.
He's 18. We're gonna do debut and have
The
him in
boo?
a dress.
Oh.
Yo, who are your 18 roses, man?
But yeah, Jason actually hit his big 25.
The big
quarter life.
2-5.
Yes, sir.
Vince is actually a year older than both of us, so he hit his quarter life crisis a while back, and I'm still 24 because I'm a
Dang.
child. But anyways, we're going to be talking about our mid-20s and how we feel up until this point.
It's funny 'cause I feel like people might think you're the oldest because you're
Yeah.
Big Kuya,
So
but
big
you don't
Kuya.
know that
I'm
he's
like the youngest.
He's the youngest out of all
Oh,
of us.
he's the
Yeah,
youngest,
shit. I didn't even
yeah.
think about that. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
funny.
How does it feel being 25, Jason?
Yeah.
Welcome
It
to the
feels
club.
exactly the same. Like obviously, like it's very hard to tell like how much you've been growing until like you look like
Yeah.
5 years in the past. Like wow,
Oh, yeah,
I was
yeah.
pretty much of an idiot back then.
Yeah,
but then if you
no.
like think about now, it's like oh, I'm not an idiot, but I'm pretty sure 5 years from now I'll probably look back and be like, oh, this guy was a dumbass. You know,
Nah,
like,
so your
so,
dick gets bigger.
and
Every
your
year.
heart gets stronger.
And your trauma gets worse.
Oh, no.
Trauma or wisdom is all about perspective, you know.
True.
Okay. All right, tight. Let's move on to our first kind of question here. So now that we're in our mid-20s, like 25s, 24s, where did you expect to be at this point in your life? And are you where you expected to be?
Relative to, I'm gonna compare this to like my teens, like when I was out of high school, I expected to still be doing like dancing as like a career option. Yeah, it's crazy how I was like, yo, man, I went from like full on like cardio, like starving myself, and fucking like hustle mama mentality like mindset to like I don't care about anything right now. I'm just trying to like breathe for a moment. Yeah, so it's
No, for sure.
yeah.
One more time, full out.
Yeah, one more time,
One more time, full
do it
up.
again? Oh, wait. I feel like we could have done better. Let's do it again. Let's do it again. Am I where I expect to be? One of the things I've kind of like learned in terms of like how I perceive life and like value of life, where it's not about like who I want to become. It's more about like how do I want to spend my time.
Yeah.
Like that is something that,
yeah.
and again, like some people are more, the traditional like success of like they need to become something, they need something great, and to them that gives them value. But like for myself, like honestly, like there's a lot of debates of what's the origin of the world, but I at this point, like I just don't care. I'm like, oh, I was fortunate enough to live in a place where it's not war torn, and I have I guess like privileges that someone else doesn't have.
Yeah.
So like I might as well just use this time for things that make me happy, and use the time for whatever. Because like whether you're spiritual, whatever, like whether the world goes black or there's like a guy with a beard, like I've come to save you. Then like like we only do get one life, right?
Yeah.
I think I don't know what point in my 20s I was like, it's not about where I expect to be. It's more about like what else can I do? You know, like
Uh-huh.
what else do I want to do with my life, and what do I have the
Yes,
capacity
yes,
to do?
yes.
And yeah, so
That's
it's
facts.
it's never about like I want to be here. It's more about like I have a set amount of time, and I'm gonna use that time to do whatever the fuck
To
I
do
want.
what the fuck I want.
Yeah.
Yeah. For
Yeah.
sure.
What about you guys? Like, what are you guys where you're expected to be?
I think like when I was in high school and coming from like a very education focused like background and upbringing, I think where I expected to be when I was in high school was like obviously like, you know, working like a or trying to pursue my career wherever that may be. And also I thought I would be, you know, like I'm obviously in like a kind of committed relationship right now, but I thought I'd be like, you know, married by now, which
Or
is
at least
crazy, bro. 'Cause, like,
engaged or some shit.
now
Right?
I don't know if we have it in the questions, but like I guess we can talk about it now. But like the idea of like being married and starting a family in your
In your
mid-20s, when you were
mid-twenties.
thinking about it back then, it didn't sound so crazy. But now that we're in it, we're living it, it like right now where I am in my life, it would be
So unrealistic.
crazy, like
Crazy.
to think about it.
To have a kid.
And
Holy
maybe
fuck.
that was because like COVID took away 2 years or 2-3 years of
Yeah.
our like 20s.
yeah, minus two matchup. Yeah.
and it feels like I haven't like I missed out
Yeah.
on that. But you know, like thinking about marriage and kids right now at this point in my life, it's just like no,
No.
I don't think I'm ready yet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no.
But
no,
and
no.
but when you think about it in your like when you're in high school or like you're envisioning your future or whatever, you're like, oh yeah, you know, I want to get married by like 26, 27,
Yeah.
have kids by like 20. I'm like,
I still
No.
know people. I still know people like that. That
Yeah,
they're
still-
anxious that they're not married yet. I'm like,
Yeah.
yo, like,
damn, bro.
like honestly, I think you need to take into account of like the culture, the generation that your parents live and that we
Mhm.
live in.
Yeah.
It's like we have different like what's socially acceptable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like,
I mean, and it's fine too if that's what you want. But if
Mm.
you're anxious because like, oh, society needs me to be married and you know have kids by this age.
it's
I mean,
society can
like
suck your
Yeah,
dick.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's fine.
it's fine. But if that's what you want, then honestly, like I have friends. I just met up with a couple of friends this afternoon who are like, yeah, like in the next couple of years, I want to get married and we want to want to buy a house and start a family. I'm like, more power to you because that's what you want.
Yeah,
And
that's
like,
cool. That's cool.
I'll support you in whatever you want to do. But for me, like I still still feel like I have a lot of life left to live.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
And like, are you where you expect to be? Like in terms of the career wise, I am there and I'm happy where I am. Like, you know, at work and stuff. But and we'll get into it in the later question. But I also feel like you know now is the time to live, and I guess I'll leave it at that because I'll leave the rest for later.
That's a great
Yeah, yeah.
perspective.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
that's
good
the
perspective.
thing is like, will you ever be ready to have kids? You know what I mean? 'Cause
Right?
Yeah.
A lot of people
no,
say
of
that
course.
like
Yeah,
they don't think they don't ever feel ready to have a kid.
No.
But
no.
I definitely think now I think, and maybe that's something I can also relate where it's like I don't really feel like now's the time.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more
Yeah.
things I need to learn about myself.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I feel like and I told this to my friend. Well, this is just my perspective, but the moment that you have kids, it's like I can only imagine that you know your most of your day is gonna be spent taking care of that
It
kid,
requires a lot of
raising them.
selflessness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
With
it,
that,
it
like,
requires a lot of selflessness
that
and
investment, bro.
yeah, and it's a lot of stress, and a lot of money and stuff. It truly feels like I'm not trying to like doom and gloom like starting a family, but it truly feels like you're like that freedom part of your life is over because like you're
Yeah,
responsible for
yeah.
taking care of another
human being.
It's
Yeah.
funny because like when I worked at my nonprofit job, that was like a common theme where like a lot of parents like, oh, like the best thing life can give you is like a child, right?
Yeah.
Like, and a lot of them are religious
Yeah.
too. It's like, oh, it's the best thing that God can give me, right? But when they're like not with it, when the child's not in the room, right, and they're talking just like heart to heart, like if I could just go back in time and just like
And just wait 5 years
and just
before I
like
had a kid.
had my husband put a condom on, like I would have done things differently. And like they would never say that because like a lot of those parents feel guilt because it implies that they don't love their kid, but they do love their
they
kid.
do. No,
Yeah.
It's just that like because they live in an expectation where they were supposed to have because like the younger you are, the more fertile you are, and you know
Mhm.
like the
Yeah.
more healthy the baby will be. Like they didn't
Yeah.
question anything. and so they just kind of had a kid, and then they do have a lot of regret and resentment for themselves. That, but then again, like you can't blame them because a lot of people were just
Yeah.
kind of gaslighting them, like you need to have a kid.
Hey, yo, children.
But I think we're very lucky that you
Uh-huh.
know, at least you know, as we go older, we have a sense of like challenging that norm and be like,
Mhm.
hey, like, do I need to have a kid right now? Like, can I,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
can I spend 4 years of being hungry with dance? Like, can I do something stupid? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
to have
Yeah,
that.
let me
Yeah.
be stupid.
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah, and I think like last point on this is like if you want to have a kid later in life and it's totally fine, and as like health technology and stuff advances and our health gets better, you'll be able to, or at least I think you'll be able to have kids later in life because
Mhm.
like you'll I think you'll be like fertile longer and you'll
Yeah,
live
yeah.
longer.
Yeah, like freezing your boys and stuff.
Yeah,
On-
freezing the boys, bro.
On a
Yeah.
side note, yeah, that was actually a controversial thing where like a lot of the studies that talked about like fertility in younger people was done in like during a time when there's a lot of diseases.
Exactly, yeah.
Diseases and stuff.
So there's a lot of
Yeah, yeah,
implications.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah,
is
yeah.
that is like is 24 to 27 the actual prime time to have a baby? Right. That's like
Yeah.
the argument in
Yeah.
like, the science community, right? And either way, like you know, you can always adopt a child. You know what I mean?
adopt.
Mhm.
You could always
Freeze your boys.
doing a service for a lot
Get
of
a
kids
dog.
that didn't get parents that
Get
you
a
know,
dog.
Yeah,
They're
I
just
mean,
as
Yeah.
they're just as annoying as children.
just as annoying as children, bro.
You know how to pay
Yeah.
child support though. So.
Oh, true, true.
Sorry, Ronald. Go
Ronald,
ahead.
go
I
ahead.
think for me, like I definitely like in high school I had like a cookie cutter like perspective
Mhm.
where I was like, I need to be married by this age. I need to have like kids by this age. And I think by my mid-20s, I like predicted that I like be married and like being like or at least be like engaged or like in a super committed relationship. And now here I am like single as fuck, and you know, but like I think that like I expected my journey to be a lot more planned out. I thought I'd still be like as invested in dance and like have like a full dance career going on, and now I'm just like, yeah, I want a regular job because I fucking like dance is weird. Like it's so weird, dude.
The 9 to 5 doesn't sound too bad, honestly. but,
Yeah.
like I know a lot of people like can't do just 9 to 5 shit. Like I can't take orders from people. But I'm just like, honestly, if it means I get benefits and I get like long ass weekends or I'm kind of just chilling, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, because it's like I feel like I crave the stability now because there's so much instability in like my early 20s and like even my teenage years from like 18 to like the age of like even now, like from 18 to the age of like 22 and like 24, like I was just like, there's just so much instability. Like I was always struggling financially. I was always like doing crazy shit. And now it's just like, I think now that I'm in my mid 20s, I'm like, I just want to go on my degree and have that stability and have that 9 to 5, you know?
Yeah.
And
And that's okay if you don't, like
Yeah,
honestly. But
yeah.
I feel like a lot of people project what they value and like what's the correct way. I'm like, yo, not everyone wants the same thing. Like
yeah,
Yep.
it's very
yeah,
easy to
yeah,
generalize
yeah.
the population and be like, oh, they like this is what people should be doing. It's like
Uh-huh.
like you know you gotta work for it, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, I know, I understand, but like there's a difference between like working hard and working smart. It's like, yo, if
Yeah,
you
exactly.
can avoid a lot of strife, like would you? You
Yeah,
know,
hell
it's-
yeah.
Some people might be
yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, Bill's character. I'm like, fuck character.
No,
bro. Like, some of
man.
you guys are assholes and weirdos. Like, so like, yeah. And sorry, go on.
yeah, yeah, like, and then were you expected to be? No, I'm not really. I didn't really expect to be like in this place, like, and kind of like doing the things that I'm doing now. But like, I'm happy, and like that's like what really matters in my opinion right now, because it's like I'm just doing things that are making myself happy and making like my life more fulfilling. And if it isn't like necessarily where I wanted it to be, like even like from a year's perspective or 2 years, or even like when I was in my teenage years, and I'm not where like I wanted to be and like what goals I wanted to hit or whatever. But I think that like the fact that it's changed and I'm still happy with that change, and I'm still like growing and constantly, you know, going through it. Like I think it's fine. I think I might hit a quarter life crisis. I don't know. Like I might just be like, fuck it. I want to change like fucking my degree again, or do some shit. Like I want to be a professional dumpster diver or some shit like that. Like I don't know. Like I want to become the next fucking what's that guy that's always like harassing people like about like finance and shit. Gary V. I want to be the
Oh,
Gary
Gary.
V.
Fucking dumbasses. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry for being stupid. Like, my bad.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I'm happy, and like I think that's like what I really value now. Like I think I spent so much time like in my earlier years like super sad and super hung up and like super depressed, that like now that I'm in like kind of like my 24, 25, I think like these last couple years have been like really, really good to me.
Mhm.
And like
Yeah,
I think
that's
that's
good.
like
Yeah, I think that's another thing because I know a lot. COVID was definitely shitty for some people, and
Yeah.
it has some bumps in the road for myself. I know financially, but one of the things that I guess a perspective I kind of put in were like for myself, COVID was almost like retiring early for a little bit,
yeah,
like kind of a sense of like stopping. I didn't
have
have to go to work. I could just sit
Yeah.
home and be paid. I wasn't spending money on gas. I made like a lot of money from
Uh-huh.
the income that the government was giving,
yeah.
and you could just have the capacity of feeling what it's like to like be young but also not be working.
Yeah.
And it's like, yo, at least I could sit in my thoughts and just like think about what you actually want. Because like, I think a lot of times we're socialized and think like what you think you want, and we never challenge that notion. Like I know a lot of people kind of still have this perception like, oh, like I need to find a passion because we live in America and I need to monetize that passion and stuff like that. It's like, I mean, you can. That's an option you can do.
Uh-huh.
But you know, like life is not as linear as you think it is.
Yeah.
Like it's
Mhm,
it's not like some people like kind of draw like even like this, but it can literally look like whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah,
I mean, it depends
yeah.
on what you value and what you want in your life. Yeah, but
Nice. Yeah. Tight. All right. Second question. How do you feel about the expectation that you should be grinding to gain capital success in your 20s?
I think we were very transparent about how we feel about this.
Oh, yeah.
Do you want to go first?
I think we shout out episode. We're gonna be shouting out a lot of previous episodes. Shameless plug. I mean,
yeah.
it's our own channel. It's our own
Yeah, yeah.
Like, comment,
you haven't
subscribe.
watched the early ones.
Go
No, I'm
back
just
to
kidding.
listen to episode 6. Work hard, stay humble, and I think we had a lot of good conversations about
Yeah.
this. It's like the kind of mainstream societal acceptance is that
Nobody
you're in
wanted to
your
work
20s.
this day.
you're young. You should have lots of energy. You should be like eager to work and
Yeah, yeah.
like
Tired as
You
fuck.
see the one. You see those memes where it's like, would you rather be given $1 million or
And
Yeah.
grind that $1 million all
Yeah.
by yourself? And there's
And
like dudes out there who are
people
like,
actually chose grinding.
yeah,
really.
grind.
Bro.
I'm like, yo, if someone's handing me $1 million, fuck that shit.
Human
Like,
brain can rationalize anything. I
Literally.
But honestly though, I did have this mindset. I think I would say before COVID hit,
Mm.
and you know I was working like 9 to 5, and then I was tutoring like 4 or 5 students, and that took up a lot of my time.
And then you're like, fuck them kids. And
And
then
then I think no, when I was in co-op, when I was in co-op, a co-op student, I was also working part-time at McDonald's. So I was like 3 jobs at one time at one point, and then also
Yeah, bro.
school, right? So I was like, yeah, you know what, I have lots of energy. You know, this is the time to make money, because that's what
this
like,
is
love
what
the
winners
grind.
do. This
I
is-
love the grind.
yeah, because like this is what we were taught, right? You know, like you know, it's always been like, okay, you're gonna make loads of money when you're young, and then when you get old, that's when you need to rest.
that's when you're chilling.
But you know, I think throughout life you need to find that balance no matter what your age is, because
Yeah.
I think we're gonna talk about it in the next question about health, and it's like you only have like one body, and if you don't take care of it and you're sacrificing it for money, you're gonna end up spending that money in the
Rehabilitate your
future
body.
to rehabilitate your body.
Yeah.
And I know Canada like free healthcare, but lots of places in the world you have to pay for medicine, right? And a lot of our stuff that, like for example, if you need, you know, physiotherapy or something, or special
like,
kinds of therapy, it's
dental
not
and
free.
shit.
If you don't have benefits, that can get really expensive. So,
Yeah.
so I feel like you know, grinding in your 20s, you know, obviously like secure your bag.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Like as
no, of
Jason
course.
says, get the
Secure your
bag and
bag,
come
get
in
the
it.
bag.
Don't fumble.
But
Get the bag coming in.
Don't sacrifice your health, your mental health. Don't sacrifice sleep for money. And I can agree with a lot of these like finance people on YouTube, where, you know, if you're building extra streams of income, it's preferred that they're passive income. So something like, you know, dividends, stocks.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
You know,
Lemonade
if
stand.
if you're like staking cryptocurrency or something, crypto bros out there, if you're like mining Bitcoin, you know, that's passive income. That's stuff that like when you're sleeping, your
Yeah.
money's still
Put
working.
them in the coffin.
Put them in the coffin. It's like, you know, it's not really healthy to be working like 3, 4, 5 jobs. And granted, some people it's necessary
They
because
have
of
to- yeah,
some of
they-
their
of course, yeah.
circumstances.
meat and shit.
And you know, like that's their circumstance, and it's really sad.
Yeah.
Given like it's just the state of life given our like capitalist economy or
Yeah.
Not
capitalist
everyone was given the
society.
same
Yeah.
Yeah.
opportunity.
Not
Yeah.
everyone was given
And-
the same bag.
And you know, like I think we can all attest to this. Like we were all like some people were given like a cheap ass Dollarama bag, and
Yeah,
some
bro.
of us were given like a superstore bag. Or
Yeah, some people's got holes in their bags, bro.
Yeah,
They
bro.
can't come in it, bro.
yeah, it just leaks out, man. It just leaks out.
Bro, I'm pretty sure this video is gonna like be removed because of that. We just
But yeah, I think we can all attest. What the fuck was I even saying?
you're talking about crypto, and I think one of the things is the
Yeah,
idea of working
passive
smart
income,
instead of
passive
working.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right.
So yeah, I think before I go to that, like I think we can all test that like our circumstances where we can like you know take time off, take breaks, not have to work 3 or 4 jobs. We were all pretty lucky that
Yeah.
we can sustain our way of life with just like a singular or maybe 1 or 2 jobs.
I mean, before I had 3 jobs, but yeah, now I can.
Yeah. So shout out to all like the like for example like low income people or single parents out there who have to like you know work their ass off to support themselves and their family. Like that's super hard.
Yeah.
But going back to like the work smarter, not harder. Yeah, I think like in society people value like, oh, you put in overtime, like you must be a hard worker.
In order for you to be rewarded with rest or anything good, you need to earn it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which a lot like it gets like, which is like sure, like I guess it does teach discipline, but at the same time it's like it does get kind of toxic because it's
Mhm.
like, you know, anytime someone has anything good in their life, they're like no one will congratulate them because like, oh, you don't deserve it.
Yeah.
You know, only people who work hard, people who are good deserve good things
Yeah.
in life.
Mhm.
And going back to that overtime thing, I mean like sometimes you can't avoid it. Like for example, if you're just like your company or your business is like busy during that
It's
time of
OT, bro.
you got to do it, and you should be compensated for that. Like
Mhm.
but if you're working like a 9 to 5 and you're just on your computer the whole day, like if you're having to work overtime, that kind of like for me in my head that means that you're not working efficiently or you're not managing your time or your task right, or like you haven't learned how to say no.
Yeah.
And I think that's a super important skill to learn. I know like that's one of the next questions, but I'll bring it in now. Like learning how to say no to requests or even like
Boundaries.
Boundaries,
asserting your boundaries, because if you say a lot of people will say like, oh, like I'll take on more work, or like, you know, if I don't say yes to this like social hangout, then they won't be my friends anymore. Like no, that's not how it should work.
Fuck them kids.
So fuck them kids.
Like learn how to say no and like take time for yourself, because at the end of the day, that's all who's going to be there for you. Like your manager won't care if you,
Yeah.
for example, suddenly pass away. Like you all hear that saying, they're all going to be sad for one day, and then
They can
they're
replace
gonna
you.
replace you.
Replace
They're going to
you.
replace. That's the way of
They'll
life,
replace you,
and
bro.
the sooner like you accept or we accept that like reality, then and learn how to appreciate our time and not give it to like our work, then the happier I think you'll be. I've seen people
Yeah.
get consumed by work and like be like,
Mhm.
oh, I gotta work, like I gotta put in the hours.
They devote their life to
How's
it.
how's that rock song? Put in the work, put in the hours, and
We
take
devour-
what's
we
ours.
get hungry. Yeah, we take what, yeah, fuck.
Yeah,
Shit's
that's all.
funny.
I think like grinding for capital success, like yeah, sure. Like get your bag, bro. Like I think but I think again it's I know this isn't the next question, but I think it's very much about a balance. Like you can't just stay grinding the whole time. And obviously Vince made a good point about like wanting like saying no and like, you know, and saying no is part of that like balance.
Don't come just edge in the bag. you
Yeah,
know?
exactly. But I think like if that's what you want to do, if you want to grind obsessively in your 20s and you feel fulfilled about it, by all means, man, go for it.
Mhm.
But we're just saying, like for us personally, like I just don't see any fulfillment personally if I have $1 million but no one to spend it with.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a clip.
That's a clip.
That is a clip.
Because it's like if I don't value those like relationships and I don't value those and I just don't value the people that are in my life,
Yeah.
what's the point of having all this money if I can't be selfless with it?
Right.
Because like I can accumulate all the fucking money I want, but you know, there's not. Then it comes back to the being fulfilling. Like it again, if you think that grinding for your money and having that mentality is fulfilling for you, then by all means go for it.
But also, why work so hard if you can't enjoy the fruit of your labor?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And if there's no one to harvest those fruits of labor with you.
Yeah.
So
True.
yeah.
And
That's
one more thing about those like people who are grinding, I see a pattern where it's like, oh, they have to flaunt their like
They flaunt
their
their
work
wealth.
ethic.
Yeah,
not only their wealth, but their work
so,
ethic, and like, oh, you don't work as hard as me.
I
like-
think it's rooted in insecurity, you know?
yeah, and
Yeah,
I saw this person on Instagram story is like, oh, you only got like 2 hours of sleep and you're going back to work and you're grinding like 12 hours a day, and she's like, oh, like, yeah, I just work harder than I'm like,
Yeah,
bro,
I'm
but
just
you have
built
2 hours of
different.
sleep, you're like, what the hell is happening to your blood pressure, man?
Damn, what a virgin,
What the
bro.
hell? Yeah, it's like, you know, it's fine to grind and like, yeah, as long as like get your bag, but don't try to one up other people, because not other people are on the same, like, they don't want the same things as you. And like by saying to people, oh, like, you should just work harder, is, I think I mentioned in before episode, but I remember that
24 hours.
that TikTok
The
that
TikTok
TikTok
like,
person.
we all got the same 24 hours in the day.
Yeah, it's like, you're just like, one kind of quote, like kind of cringy, whatever, finance, whatever,
Gary Vee
grind bro quote that I do agree with is like, you know, work in silence and let your like success talk for you. Like, you don't have to tell people, oh, like, look at all this money, look at
Yeah.
like how many hours I'm putting
Yeah.
in. Just let your success talk for you. If you're really that big, people will know
Yeah.
without you
Yeah.
having to say
If you're an alpha, you don't need to tell people you're
exactly,
alpha. Yeah.
exactly, yeah,
Mhm,
yeah.
mhm.
That's all.
It's a great thing. Yeah, it's kind of crazy because that whole like the same 24 hours in a day was said by like a white woman. But the thing is, like, it's funny because I see like minorities, or sorry, BIPOC people do the same shit, but like in a different kind of language, where they're like, oh, like, it sounds like an excuse, like no excuses kind of thing, right?
Mhm.
But like, yes, I understand, like, you know, male privilege exists, white privilege exists, right? But there's also other privileges that exist. For example, being born here.
Yeah.
You know,
And,
you
like,
could have been born
Canadian.
in a war-torn country. You could have been
Mhm.
born in a place where like for example, like, I've seen some like, I don't know what word to use. I'm gonna say fucking minorities. I've seen some minorities in like where they have reached success, right? It was like, oh, I'm marginalized by this, and like I made it, and it's like, wow, you've actually submitted to this whole ideology of Western society where it's like, and some of these like POC people are like, they never had to take out student loans. Some of them had like two parents that actually like were able to support them.
Yeah.
Some of them never had that immigrant experience of having to raise like a younger sibling, or having to like
Uh-huh.
almost reteach your parents and everything.
Yeah.
And they're very much like, oh, no excuses. It sounds like you're making excuses. It's like, you know, I think you're right in a sense that there are people that do make excuses, but
Mhm.
there's a big difference between an excuse and a barrier.
Yeah.
'Cause a lot of people kind of just see it as like, you know, they see their experience and how they were like, I guess, oppressed and marginalized, that like, and the fact that they had success, like, oh, like, if I can do it, then people like me can do it too, right?
Yeah.
It's representation. If like I can show that people can do it, but the thing is, like, you know, everyone has some advantages than others, right?
Mhm.
Like, it's one of those things where it's like, for example, it's like an ethical question of like for example, it's easy to blame like let's say a Nazi soldier, right? Like, for being a bad person for killing all of them. But if you were a person born in the 1920s in the Nazi regime, where you were taught to antagonize Jews, that that's the right thing to do, all this value, you don't have like the knowledge of a Western society. Would you be able to do the same? Of like, would you go against the regime? Would you challenge them?
Yeah.
Or would you be a culprit of the culture that you live
Yeah.
in? Right.
Yeah.
A lot of people in Western society would be like, oh, I would have acted normally. I would have fought Hitler. It was like, well, would you?
Yeah.
Like, would you actually have like, you know, challenge them, right?
Yeah.
And like, and I guess an example, it's like, if you give a painter the color brown and you ask them what their favorite color is, they're going to say it's brown. But if you give them the color like blue, green, pink, red,
Yeah.
there might be like, oh, my favorite color is cyan or magenta, whatever. It's like,
yeah.
sure, like people have choices, but the ethical question is like, do people have the same choices?
The same choices.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
And so
yeah,
like
yeah,
honestly, yes, there's a difference between there actually is there are people that do excuses, but it's like, yo, like how absent-minded are you that you are like, oh, mama mentality, like you're
Mama
making
mentality.
like, you know
Grind
what I
every
mean?
day.
And it's like, yo, man, like I feel like you are projecting your whole like lived experience, and so that's why like I honestly get annoyed with people who are in this grinding mindset. I'm like, dude, you are so dumb. Please use your frontal lobe for just like 2 seconds, because like, you know, you have that privilege, regardless if you're a marginalized person or not, to do something
Mhm.
great with your life,
Mhm.
right? Of course, yes. There are some people who are more oppressed than others? Yes. However, some people had like friend groups that taught them how to be more assertive, how to set their boundaries.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
people don't.
No.
You know what I mean? And so like honestly, when it comes to like the whole grinding, like capital success thing, it's like, I don't know, like, is that really important? Like, do you need to prove that you are stronger and that you like you made the choice to show how superior you are? Like what do you have to prove? You know what I mean? And like it's kind of funny how like we only pay attention to the 1% of success, but we don't pay attention to like the 99% of people who just didn't make it.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
kind of blame
Yeah.
it on them and like, oh, they're just lazy. But it's like, yo, like not everyone gets the same opportunity.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And going back to a good quote that Ronald said in previous episodes, like there's no timeline for success, and I feel like it's getting better now, but especially in immigrant households where you're like going back to school or going to post secondary like later on.
Mhm.
So I know a couple of friends who are starting a new program and they're like mid-20s, and there's nothing wrong with
There's
that.
nothing wrong
As you
with that.
said, Jason, like people have different circumstances, and those circumstances may have prevented them from pursuing a higher education
Yeah.
earlier on. Maybe they had to work straight out of high school to provide for
Your family.
the family
Yeah.
because they didn't have that.
They started working like
person.
14 and like
Yeah.
all their money immediately went to their parents, not
Yeah,
to themselves.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know people like that, and it's saying to those people, oh, like you're behind in life, or
You're behind.
you're behind in life.
Yeah.
It's like it's kind of an insult because they had no choice,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it's like it's that notion that like in your 20s you're supposed to be like cementing your career, and by your 30s you should be like stable. And I guess like leads into the next question. It's like there is no timeline. Like yes, maybe in the past where we like lived shorter, I guess, and there was this like linear path that was
I
accepted.
mean, you
in
probably died
society.
at 40 because of like some disease.
Yeah,
you had to-
exactly.
you had to grind in order
Yeah.
to make
Yeah.
the best of your life. Yeah.
Yeah, but nowadays it's like or we hopefully knock on wood. Oh fuck!
Oh,
Never mind, that was bad.
live, laugh, love.
But like knock on wood, we live to like 80, 90,
Yeah,
100
right.
maybe. Given
Yeah.
all like the advancements in the health field, you have a lot of time. Like, so use that time. Shit. So use that time, and like there is no timeline for success, and
Yeah.
you can always don't have to follow the
Mhm.
linear path.
This might be a really weird cut, but my brother wants to get in on this episode. Hey, welcome
Hey,
back
what's
to
up?
Manager.
This will
We,
be
uh,
great
we brought
on
Lawrence in
Spotify.
here because he's just entering his 20s, so
Yeah,
we're all old as fuck, and
Yeah.
Lawrence is just
And Lawrence is young as
Yeah,
fuck.
like,
We just
all
celebrated
we
the
walk
boo
into this,
yesterday.
you know?
yes,
Yeah.
the boo.
Yeah.
All right, Ronald.
Okay, question number 3. Wow, we've only answered 2 questions.
We've been talking a lot.
So how do you balance wanting to pursue your dreams and making risky investments?
You
like
don't.
in time or money, with pursuing stability, providing for family, setting up a future for yourself? So essentially, it's like how do you balance like wanting to be the most goated choreographer in the world and all while trying to like become stable?
That's a very hard question because I feel like
Yeah.
my experience might not be indicative of everyone else's.
Yeah, no, mine probably is really weird, but I'll go first. We can talk. I can talk about it. I think I had to find this balance like more recently. I think before I was just like passion or nothing. Like I was like, yeah, like I can still have like a girlfriend or whatever, and I can still have friends, But like looking back at it in retrospect, I really didn't take care of any of that shit. Like I was just like, man, dance is life. I love dance. I'll never leave dance, and I'm gonna become the next choreographer extraordinaire, right?
The
And
next Brian Poos Poos.
yo, I'm saying
Chachi Gonzalez.
Matt Stefanini.
But now it's like I'm in school. Like I dance has become a back burner kind of thing for me. It's just something I kind of do for fun. I have a lot better relationships with my friends. Obviously, I'm single as hell, but I think if I were to be in a relationship now, it'd be a lot more healthier. And I think how I found that balance was realizing like where my priorities lie and how to set those boundaries for myself. Because I feel like before, if I ever had like a boundary encroached upon, or even if I felt like a little bit of resistance from even my own body, I was like, yo, like mama mentality. I need to grind, bro. Like I need to. There's not enough growth.
You're horny for growth.
Yeah, and like I think that now I'm just like if my body even pushes back a little bit, like if I'm just feeling a little tired, I'll be like, you know what, I think I could go for another nap, you know. But like I think just learning how to set those boundaries for myself and like knowing when enough is enough and knowing like where my priorities really lie and how to like become a healthier person and have a healthier mindset. I think just like that was the balance I needed. Like, don't get me wrong, I'll still make risky investments. I'll still be like, hey, yo, there's a new coin coming out. I might even invest a couple $100
To the moon, to the moon,
baby. I might be a millionaire when I'm 30 on this coin, bro. And then like it literally tanks like the day after. But I think that like there's nothing wrong with taking a chance on something that's new or foreign, because at the end of the day, you do want to grow your life. You do want to like no, you really don't want to keep that what if, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
You really want to experience it in some shape, way, or form, right? So if you this is not financial advice at all, but you know, this is me speaking to another homie. Like if you want to make that investment on that coin, like go for it, dog.
for it.
Like if you want to like get into skateboarding and or like snowboarding, or you want to try to like pursue that competitively, go for it. Like that's tight. I just think that going forward, you don't have to monetize everything. You don't have to and you don't have to make sure that like you make your bag. Like you can make your bag still and you can come in it, but it doesn't have to be like a specific
Bag.
like way, a specific bag, or like a specific
bag. You can switch out the bags.
yeah, like from Dollarama to Superstore. You know, and that's kind of
Truly
like
hate us.
and that's how you set up for your future, and that's how you balance it. Like don't be afraid to make those decisions, but also be smart in like where you're kind of going with your life. You know what I mean?
I-
Sorry, go ahead.
But
No.
I think one thing you mentioned about like mama mentality, where I think a lot of people when they and I obviously want to put respect to Kobe. Obviously, he's a great, right?
Yeah.
Where a lot of people kind of see mama mentality and you only pay attention to his basketball success, right? But at one point, like his marriage was shit. You know,
Mhm.
he had like some falling out and like some fucked up shit that happened, right? And so, you know, he applied his mama mentality to his relationship to mend that relationship. But I think it's like you can apply mama mentality to other components of your life, right?
Yeah.
Like,
course.
sure, if you want to apply mama mentality for like your basketball success, then you can do that. But understand that like maybe your relationship might fall apart. You know what I mean? And so you can also apply it, because the thing is, as a concept, you have 100% of your energy. So what are you gonna invest that energy to?
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Instead of just investing into one thing. Because, like, for example, at one point you might be wanting to become a famous basketball player or a sports star or a singer or an artist, a visual artist, a dancer, choreographer, right? And you obviously apply that mama mentality, so you're a majority of your energy to that craft. But let's say you meet someone that brings you a lot of happiness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or let's say you've made some platonic relationships that make you feel fulfilled and you want this to last long term, right? Or maybe like you pick up a hobby that ends up turning to a new passion, or maybe like just something that brings you joy in life, right? And you know, if you're only applying that mamba mentality to that one craft, other things then get neglected, right? So just like for those of you who are trying to, I guess, balance, your dreams and your risky investment, just know that like you do have to commit your energy to other things.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because I think it's easy to just say, oh, just like make an Excel file and just like have a schedule, right? But the thing is, like, as much as you can be as organized and like just like have priorities, like at the end of the day, like it's your energy and your time that you can invest in things, right? So I think my best advice, if you're trying to balance all these things of risky investments or like dreams, whatever, is just sit your ass down and be like, what the fuck do I want?
Yes.
And you might not know what that is. And that is
And that's
totally
okay.
normal. That is something that I think a lot of us have experienced, right? And sometimes it takes you to explore a little bit, and a lot of people, there's that saying where it's like, time wasted having fun is not time wasted at all, right?
Mhm.
So like if you need to do something on hobby and you like kind of sweat at it and you try it and you don't like it, it's not time wasted. It's actually you're using your time to live your life. You're trying out something new,
Yeah.
getting a new experience. So like in terms of balance, like I think my advice would just understand how to invest your energy into different pools. If you
Mhm.
really want to have a sense of balance in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think like the premise of this question is I'm gonna use it kind of like an investment analogy where you have like different types of investments, right? And then like as you get older in life, you want your investments to be less risky because you're getting closer to retirement and you're wanting to take them out.
They're crumping.
Yo, Dad, chill.
Anyways, so like so as you get older, right, like you want your investments to be less risky, more stable, so that you have all your money when you retire. But when you're more younger, you can take on more risk so that your money has more potential to grow. And I think that's kind of what I was trying to go for with this question is like, when you're young, how do you balance like, trying to, get your bag or trying to pursue a hobby or, making risky investments like with your time, for example, if you want to like pursue something competitively or like with your money, with, pursuing stability so that you don't like, lose all your money, lose all your time, lose all your friends. Like, how do you balance that? Because like in your 20s, you're supposed to live your life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like, to be honest, I was kind of in that boat too, where I was like, oh, I'm just gonna save all my money. I'm not gonna do anything fun. I'm just gonna like,
Yeah, me too.
for vacation, I'm gonna go to fucking
Vancouver.
Edmonton.
Edmonton. and
It's the West End.
it's like one of my passions, like one of my like goals in life is to travel a bunch and to do that before we talk
Shut up.
we talked before about like when you have kids, like your life is kind of over. So I want to do all this stuff before that. And at one point, I think it's this year or last year, where my mentality shifted. I'm like, and you're like, you know what? I can't, when I'm in my 20s, like when I'm still young, I can't, always just play it safe. Like I know how to save my money and I know how to like make smart decisions with my money and my time, but I can't be like safe all the time, because if I am, then I won't be, I won't be living my life. I won't be able to travel. I won't be able to do these things. I won't be able to like make new friends, make new connections. And my thought process, like when I'm in my 30s or 40s, I'll look back and like, damn, I could have like
Come in the bag.
I could have done that thing. I could have like, traveled to this place. I could have,
Yes.
tried this new hobby or, learned something new. I could have ate learned how to eat ass.
But okay, that's the thing, is that like for some people who don't know how money works, the thing is like if you have a some sort of job, like whether it be part-time job, you can spend a paycheck on how to invest money, right, on a workshop, right?
Yeah.
That's a start, right?
Yeah.
And so now that you invest that time in learning how money works, then you know what I mean, like you have a choice. If you have a choice, then use that choice, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
Yeah, and that's obviously like us speaking from our like place of privilege. Obviously, not everyone can afford to not has extra money to make risky investments in time or money. So like, but as as long as I think Jason put it really well, as long as you have that balance in your life where you're like, okay, I'm not putting all my time, money, all my resources into,
One basket.
I don't know, competitive
God.
fucking League of Legends, or if that's what
Oh
you
my
want to
God,
do.
Yes.
If you want to be the next faker, like, go ahead.
Fake
But as
it.
long as you're not
Minus
like
tens.
like spending all your time and money, like, you know, practicing, pulling all-nighters, playing League. Oh my god, I
Oh.
feel so bad if you do that. But you know, like,
Go touch some grass.
obviously
sorry.
believe in yourself,
Sorry,
but
I only played
like
Blue.
it's super valuable to have a backup plan, to have like that safety net option. Even when you're in your 20s, just, you know, if it doesn't work out, you know, it's no big deal. Yeah, you know.
Your value does not hinge on you becoming successful.
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're still a valuable human being, which is like I think the biggest message we're trying to convey.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
yo, like
You got value, bro.
you got value.
Yeah.
You know what is value? Some people value, you know, physical appearance. Some people value if you're able to come in the bag. Some people value if you're really good at basketball. But like, you can value someone on literally anything. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So you have some value.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I guess like the message I'm trying to convey is like, you know, don't spend your energy, don't spend all of your energy, money, and resources trying to, you know, pursue your dreams, or, you know, or that stuff. And also at the same time, don't spend all your time, energy, and money, setting yourself up for the future. You gotta have a balance. Like, you gotta
Yeah.
live your life, but also have something for yourself, you know, when you're older and you can't do all
Of
these
course.
things. You know, this is the time to like find that right balance.
Yeah.
Learn about yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Cool.
Yeah, I have nothing for this other than the fact that, like, I think goal setting especially is super important when it comes to
Mhm,
like
mhm.
balance, because not knowing like where you want to go, obviously it's like a really nasty like balance of managing, I'd say, yeah, like your dreams and like risky investments and being like stable too for like the future. So honestly, I'd say just like play it by ear, but also have like a set path on like how you want to balance everything out in the future.
Attainable goals.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, attainable
Yeah,
goals.
that's all.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, the last point on this, like, the key to being able to balance this, like living your life, but also having something for yourself in the future, is financial literacy. Episode 4, we talk about the
Yeah,
importance of financial literacy. If you know how to manage your money, if you know how to make your money work for you, then you won't have to worry as much about like running out of money, or you know, having to grind, or, oh man, I kind of like, obviously, you know, coming from a place of privilege,
Yeah.
like if you know how to manage your money, if you know how to like save, invest, and you know, not spend excessively, like, you won't have to worry as much about, you know, oh man, like if I like spend another paycheck on dance, like I can't afford to eat.
Yeah.
Don't you should
bro.
never ever like have that mindset of like, oh, I need to sacrifice my well-being for my dream.
For my
Yeah.
kids.
You know what I mean?
No,
Like,
man.
honestly, it's gonna take a pause and be like, what's a smarter way of doing this? to get
Exactly.
the maximum potential.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's all about balance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Balance, baby.
Balance.
Okay.
Oh, balance is all things should be.
Number 4.
people.
Number 4. So we talked about in a previous episode about the importance of personal finance. How important do you think it is to have your finances in order in our 20s?
I think we can combine the next question too, like personal finance.
And
Fitness.
Fitness.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Now, you could talk about both in your answer
Yeah.
if you want, but
I can talk about both because I think I experienced both. I think I am experiencing both right now. Call me Big Kuya for a reason. So in terms of finances, I think it's really, really good. I think it's really, really important to have your finances in order and to have financial literacy. I think we really, really reiterated that in episode 4. But just to reiterate, give you the TLDR, I think it's just make sure that you have the financial literacy. Make sure you know like what passive income is. Make sure that you just, I don't know, whatever you want to do with your life, whether it be going to school and getting that like 9-to-5 degree, or doing like a startup or entrepreneurship or whatever you want to do, make sure that path is kind of like set for you, and you kind of know where you want to go in terms of that direction. If you want to change, by all means, there's nothing wrong with changing, because that's what our 20s are meant for. It's our 20s are meant for a time of change, especially like our mid 20s.
I like that.
You don't have to, you don't, like, this is a personal story. Me, I have switched degrees like 3 times, and I'm already contemplating on switching degrees again, and I'm almost done, right? And there's nothing wrong with that, in my opinion. If you don't want to do anything science based, if you don't want to do anything business based, if you didn't want to do anything artistically, then make sure that take your time in finding what you really want to do. Because at the end of the day, if you're stuck doing something that you really, really don't want, then like, what's the point?
Right.
Yeah, you get a bag, but like, it's an unhappy cup.
It's an unhappy bag.
Shame.
Yo, this metaphor is running dry, bro.
It's all ripped up, and all your groceries are falling
crusty,
out.
like-
You can't reuse it, you know.
So yeah, like
So I only have one pair of sock and another one's missing for some reason.
I don't want any of our homies to not be fulfilled and to not be like, you know, unhappy with their jobs, like, or unhappy with what they're doing with their life. I think that was one of the biggest things that makes me like anxious all the time when I go into a new program or anything. Is like, I think I'll enjoy it at first, and then I end up won't enjoying it, and then what makes me anxious is changing. Like, it's all like, am I gonna be in like my 30s when I finally figure it out? And to be honest, to me, that there's nothing wrong with that. Like, if I'm in my 30s and I finally find something that I love, then all the power to me. You know, I'm happy when I'm 30. Like, if I committed to what I was in when I first entered university, I think I'd still have a good paying job, but I think I'd be like, I'd actually want to kill myself, because like, I'd be so depressed. And,
Be
like,
miserable,
I'd
yeah.
be miserable, right? So yeah, in terms of like personal finance and stuff like that, make sure that you kind of have that direction, knowing what you kind of want to do. And again, there's nothing wrong with changing. I think just in terms of finances, just knowing how to save, knowing how to like knowing what like a mortgage is like going forward, knowing what like a lease is, like for your cars, and like for cars and for like personal businesses and for all that other stuff.
Not spending your first dollar, and
knowing what money saving ratio works best for you, because I know like realistically some people can't save 40% of their paychecks.
Nope.
Some people can't save like 50% even. Like, if it's like a 90-10, as long as you're saving something, we're still proud of you. Yeah.
yeah.
So that's like my advice for kind of personal finance, especially in our 20s, because my brother was actually talking about this earlier. Is like our early 20s to like our late 30s is a time to spend, right? It's a time to, you know, like,
and work too.
and work, right?
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Personal fitness. So me, so I gained the freshman 15, I gained the sophomore 30, and then I hit the COVID 40. Yeah. And the COVID 40 is very exclusive because in high school, I weighed about 160 pounds. I was skinny as hell. I'll like flash a picture, if it's just a highlight or whatever.
Yeah.
Be something here. Bow.
Just someone else.
it's
the Giga Chad.
And that was me when I was like 20. Yeah.
And then when I entered university, I started gaining a little bit of weight because I still ate like shit. I ate McDonald's like literally every day.
Is there Spuda?
Yeah. It's just a bam, Respucia from Norbit. And then the COVID 40 hit. So like the COVID 40 for me, like we were like 22, 23 when COVID first hit.
Yeah.
Around there.
Yeah, I was 21.
Yeah.
No, it was 22.
Well, like
It was 22.
22, 23,
Yeah.
21, around there. And like we were getting all this money from the government, and like obviously I didn't have the financial literacy at the time to be like, yeah, I should save it. No, I was just like, I'm gonna pay off all my credit cards and then eat out every single day.
Yeah.
And like when you're not working out, and I wasn't dancing extensively and working hard, and you know, hunger, growth, work hard, stay grinding.
Stay grinding.
I like gained a lot of weight, and like I think a big thing that I've recently come about is it's not working out that's the problem half the time. And I say half the time because if you're already working out and you're not seeing any growth in your in like whatever your body goals are, whatever your personal image is, and whatever your, you know, whatever you want to reach in terms of that aspect, you need to eat healthier. And it's shitty to say this, but you need to eat healthier. Like,
That's the
like,
hardest part.
like I know fucking chicken, broccoli, and rice is not the most appetizing thing in the world.
It's not.
But in order for your health, like especially when you're in your 20s, and your metabolism starts to slow down, that chicken, broccoli, and rice is gonna help immensely.
It's so funny because I feel like I hear my ancestors or my parents like tell me that as a young kid I just didn't pay attention to them.
yeah.
And now
yeah.
now we are passing on the torch like, please take care of your body, and they're just bodying like Wendy's like
Like and the thing is like knowing how to cook, like I think is a big thing too.
Yeah.
Like
it's a
knowing
good it's a good skill.
skill.
it's a
Yeah.
good skill. Like
Come on, man, let's
like-
get in the
like
kitchen,
knowing-
bro.
Like,
Get in the
and it's
kitchen.
not like you don't need to be like Chef Mike. You don't need to be Chef Mike. Like you don't need to know how to make a souffle or a creme brulee or shit like that. Like right.
But grilled chicken is a good start.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
knowing how to use a pan and not burn your shit
Yeah.
is like easy. Because all you gotta do is sear the chicken, know how to season it, and then what? You got a rice cooker, and then you just sear the
Oh,
same
I do by pot. I don't have a rice
stuff in
cooker.
the oil. Yeah, right. Or you do it in a pot, right?
Mhm.
Knowing how to cook is like big way of becoming healthier and eating healthier.
Yes. it's
And then you add working out and going to the gym as like the cherry on top.
Yep.
Like think of like think of like your food as like the sustenance. It's like it's like if you have like a glass and like what's it called?
You want a cup of
The-
rice
the-
and 2 cups of water.
Yeah. yeah. Hold on, where am I going with this? Oh, okay, you have a glass, okay, and working out. Sorry, not working out. And food is like the water that you're pouring into the glass, right? And like water tastes good by itself, but then like working out is like the Kool-Aid mix, like that you add on top.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
To make things a little bit better. You know what I mean? So, what I'm saying is that working out should be more of like a secondary or even like tertiary priority when it comes to just being healthy.
Yeah.
I think it's more cooking and eating healthier.
Eating healthy is like the foundation
Yeah,
for
yeah,
good health.
yeah.
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 Right?
It
Like
is.
you don't have to go super crazy like some other like gym bros where they're like, portions, calories, TDEE, macros.
How much protein
Yeah.
am I, you know?
How much protein you eat. Like literally just eating like quote
The keto
unquote
diet.
cleaner.
Cleaner.
A
Yeah.
keto diet, right? Just eating cleaner is just like will do immensely for your health.
Even like starting baby steps, right? Like starting by cutting out, if you eat junk food, I don't know, 4 times a week, maybe cutting it by a day,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then eventually 2 days, and then maybe getting down to 1 day. Like
Yeah.
I think we don't say like you don't need a cheat day. We all need cheat days.
We all need a cheat day.
Yeah, bro.
Because
I have 2.
3 actually.
Bro,
Today's one of them.
Every single time, I was telling these guys before the podcast started that I'm not getting takeout till May 24th. So basically, that's my partner's anniversary. So he wants us to eat clean. And then these guys, because it's my birthday, it was my birthday recently. Like, no, we're buying you food. So I'm like, oh fuck, I guess I can't refuse. But
these two.
I think making like baby steps and goals, like for example, if you're a person that like eats up constantly, just be like, yo, let's just start only weekends,
Only weekend.
right? Like start off, make it more attainable instead of just being like, for the rest of the year, I'll never buy fast food ever again. Like you know what I mean? You want to, you can start off slow, right?
Yeah.
But especially because you're in your 20s, you have more time, right? So just
exactly.
setting yourself up for success.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. go
Yeah.
on.
Like even to add on, like for me, when I first started working out, I was going like when I first tried working out, I was going every single day, and like it was exhausting, like to take that step, like just from going from no working out to like working out almost every single day. It's just a lot. So now, when the new year started, I started working out like 3 times a week. I was like, okay. And now, like, I find myself constantly, like, I'm like, I was thinking to myself, maybe I should up, like, the amount of times I go to the gym because I really enjoy it. I think that taking those baby steps will allow you to enjoy the journey to whatever your goal is a lot more.
Yeah.
Because I think that, like, if you start off, like, at 100% intensity, that quote-unquote mama mentality, you're gonna, like, burn out and you're gonna, like, not want to do it anymore because it's just too much at you at once.
Too much stimuli. Yeah. I don't know if you guys ever saw that. It's on TikTok. It's also on YouTube. Like, you know who Simon Sinek is? Like the white guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where he was like, I can't do the impression. Like, if you
I see what you're trying to
if you work out for 9 hours and you look up in the mirror, you will see nothing. And then right? And then but if you if you work out if you do 20 minutes a day, you do push-ups or whatever the fuck, or I don't know, something like that, then eventually you will see some results, right?
Yeah.
So for my gym philosophy, because I'm not trying to get swole and big, I mostly work out just for my health because honestly those fitness bitches are right because it really does cure depression. It stimulates the runner side, it stimulates your brain, that shit does so much wonders for you. But when I started out, I only worked out for 40 minutes. I literally did 3 workouts and then I would do a treadmill for 5 minutes and I would dip, right? And a lot of people were like, oh, but I'm not really getting my money's worth, my gym membership worth. But it's yo, again, it's not about ferocity. It's about just the idea of being consistent, right?
Yeah.
Of building a habit.
Building a habit.
Yeah. And I think that's that's kind of what I wanted to allude to, the whole Simon Sinek thing, where it was if you really want to build a healthy habit when it comes to finance and gym or anything really, it does take small steps. For example, for finance, one of the things I did was download this app called Mocha. And basically, it's a tax-free savings account that I'm not sponsored, by the way. But it basically just takes up a little bit of your money and it saves it for you. Yeah. And also when you, let's say you buy something that's $59.97, right? It will round up those 3 cents and then store it automatically, right? So it's one of the things where you can start learning how to save. And again, I mentioned earlier, if you have the privilege of taking a workshop and have the time to as well to learn more about money, then use that choice, use that power, right? So and just to answer the question, because I don't really think I have a lot to say, because I feel like I said it already. Honestly, I think it's both are very important, because again, we do run on a system of money, so it is important to make money to function. However, you can't just save all your money and then not use it for your well-being. That's the point of having money in the first place, right? True. It's being a billionaire but only eating potatoes and wearing Joe Fresh, you know what I mean?
Superstore.
Yeah, Super George. Let's go.
Buy that PS5, baby.
And the higher version too, the one with the high memory and the 4K. But I guess the only thing I really have to say is just the idea of putting, not necessarily it is important, but you don't need to have high intensity with these things of investing your entire energy. It's just if you want to include these things in your life, financial literacy and fitness, you can start with baby steps, right? It's about consistency, not ferocity, right? So exactly. That is one thing. I only want to say with that question.
Yeah, also, and if you're into this as well, don't ever be afraid to ask. It doesn't even matter at what age you're at. It could be early 20s, mid, or even late.
Never too late to start.
When you never too late to start. When I worked in my nonprofit, and I'm not keeping his name anonymous, but I had a client that was making his first resume ever at the age of 40. Yeah, because he worked with his dad at some construction company. He just never needed to apply for another work, and so when making his resume, he just didn't know what to do. He never knew how to make a resume, and so it wasn't my job to help him make a resume, but I was just here, I'll use mine. And obviously I'd use a template and help him build it. But obviously not everyone has the opportunity of having a supportive group around them. But honestly, just ask around, shoot your shot. You might see that some people are actually more empathetic and actually caring than you think they are, right? It's some people actually give a shit,
Yeah, because I like to close this off as well. When you do ask how important is it? At my age especially, I don't know how important it is. You know what I mean? Because I'm not going through the experience, of knowing how important personal finances and fitness. Because I'm not at that. I don't feel that's important, right? Or I haven't realized it yet. When I'd rather just ask and just be aware of it too. Yeah, right.
Learning vicariously. Yeah.
I like become big cool. Learning how to become big.
There's a book too.
How to become big cool. Yeah.
How to become big cool by Ronald. That's
I love self-help books. My favorite.
But I like your guys' points on baby steps will lead to consistency. Yeah, because even with fitness, when I was just first starting out, I had a lot of struggles with maintaining consistency because I would say, oh man, I haven't gone to the gym in
Like,
2 weeks.
Yeah.
I'll like up the intensity, and I'm like, oh fuck, I'm so sore. Then I'm like, I'll go tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll go tomorrow.
And then I'm still sore and I'm
and
kind of
it's like,
tired.
it's 2
I'm-
weeks again.
There's no point of going
Yeah.
anymore.
So it's like the gradual change versus like a step change. It's still going up, but you're more likely to maintain consistency if you're making those small steps.
yeah,
Yeah.
attainable steps.
Yeah, and attainable steps. And in terms of like personal finance, like it is super important because like, compound interest is a thing. So the more time you have your money invested or saved, and it doesn't matter what kind of investment vehicle it is. It could be like just a regular savings account or like fucking Dogecoin or something.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe not Dogecoin. That's
Okay,
super risky. But like,
yeah, that's actually discouraged.
no. This is not financial advice.
No.
Disclaimer. But like,
If
The-
you want Dogecoin, go for it, man. Like whatever, but
But, like,
we didn't
the-
tell you that.
the,
you only live once. Sorry, go ahead.
the longer you have your money like saved or invested, not just sitting around, the better it'll be. And like, if you start in your 20s or like your early 20s versus starting in your like 30s or 40s, and again, like it's never too late to start, but the earlier you start with especially money saving and investing, the better, because the more your interest and savings will compound and work for you.
Yeah.
So in terms of fitness, yeah, like how these guys said, in high school and stuff, like I ate like shit in
Yeah.
first year of university.
No,
I
we
ate
all
like
eat
shit.
We all eat like garbage,
And
bro.
like it's really, getting used to going to the gym is easier than getting used
Yeah.
to eating healthy or
Yeah.
like breaking those eating
100%.
habits, because you're like, oh fuck man, I could really go for a Wendy's double baconator right now.
Yo.
and,
It doesn't help when
and
your
a
friends are
Frosty.
gaslighting you.
But yeah, it's super hard to but yeah, I agree with Ronald. Like cooking is a super, not only will it help you become healthier, it will help you save money, so personal finance, and it will also like it's a,
Self-sufficient.
Get you
yeah,
Yes.
and it's also a really useful life skill. So if you're like trying to court someone or trying to find
it's
someone like
true, yeah.
Dead
bitches.
be like, hey yo, I can cook, you want me to cook a meal for you?
Yeah.
And stuff like that. But
Hungry man.
hungry man.
Okay,
And you pull out the microwave.
yeah, to add to that, actually, like girls actually like it a lot when you cook. Like you can make her like mashed potatoes, and she'd be like, "Oh my god."
Oh my god!
Make sure-
5-star
make sure you
chef.
add butter and milk.
Wow.
Make sure you
Chef.
add butter and milk to that shit. Don't
Yeah,
just
bro.
mashed
Yeah.
potatoes, please.
Yeah, please.
I also think because I know. I mean, this is a podcast catered towards men, but yeah, the reason why we like prioritize like, things like cooking and getting your license, because like I think maybe in our personal experience we have found a lot of maybe because like of just how gender norms have changed, that like now that like people are being more like, we live in a more individual society where people are more like self-sufficient.
Yeah.
I am finding a lot of men just don't. They literally have their mother do everything for them, and like obviously it sucks because like there's no expectations, but like it's harder to do something when you don't have the expectation. But now that like you are an adult and you have more choices, like like take initiative to
Mhm.
learn those things, because like they'll help you. And so like, and also it just makes you more, I guess, an adult and more competent in who you
Yeah.
are, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never too late to start learning.
Never
how to
too
like
late to
cook.
start.
Never too late
But
to start.
never too late to start, but the earlier you start, the better.
The better
Yeah.
you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
that. I like that. It's a great way of
All right.
looking at it.
Last one to end it. What is the most important life skill to learn or improve at during your 20s? I think I'm gonna pretty much tackle what we've been talking about the whole time. Cooking. I think that's
Cooking.
one of the most important life skills you can learn. Like, obviously, learning to manage your money is very, very important. Learning how to work out is very, very important. Well, to some people, but not all. But I think learning how to cook is super, super important, because there will come a day where like you're not living with your parents anymore, and you need to learn how to cook properly for yourself. And there's a lot of people that I know that I personally wouldn't want to live off top ramen and eggs for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Or skip.
I wouldn't share a
Or
roommate with them.
skip,
Yeah, like
right?
yeah,
Or
or be a roommate with
or
them.
like frozen pizzas, or like Hungry Man dinners.
Yo,
like,
rent are so
like,
bad.
yeah, man, like the
Lunchables.
Lunchables.
Michael Lena.
Not the
Muckalinas, chips.
Jones.
Bread, water.
Hungry hippo.
And for those guys or even girls who are watching this who like just don't know how to cook, who like are just looking for a place to start, like learn how to cook rice, Learn how to cook pasta.
Wash your rice before you cook it.
Yeah,
Always wash your rice
exactly.
before you cook it.
And meat, like learn how to cook meat.
Yeah.
That's another
Yeah,
thing
and
too.
like and it's not and it's not hard to learn how to cook meat. Like start with chicken breast. It may be dry as fuck like when you first cook it, but you'll get better over time.
Yeah.
You can also marinate it. So one thing, I guess giving cooking advice, but fuck, like put your seasoning in your chicken, and there's things called freezer bags, and you can put it in the freezer bag and you put it in the fridge and you let it marinate. So when you cook it, it's actually a lot more flavorful.
It's a lot more flavor.
Instead of just
Yeah.
defrosting the chicken and then seasoning it the day of, like do yourself a favor
Yeah,
because the first time I made chicken, I just seasoned the day of, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh my god, it tastes like.
Needs more salt.
It was so bad. Yeah, you can season your
Yeah.
chicken, your meat, in advance.
Hey, yo.
but learning how to cook is like it's easy to start.
It's easier.
It's like if you're scared of knives, there's like fucking plastic knives or butter knives that
or
you
pre-cut chicken.
yeah,
And
or
there's
pre-cut
YouTube
chicken.
tutorials.
Yeah, tons of YouTube tutorials, tons of cooking channels.
What
to
are
learn
you?
about.
An idiot sandwich.
There's I was watching like like this actual chef talk about like TikTok, like TikTok cooking or like those shorts where
Oh, the
people cook
tasty,
on
yeah.
TikTok, and it's like he's like that you're not actually learning how to like become a professional chef.
Exactly.
It's more catered towards people who don't really know how to cook or don't really have the necessary skills to cook, and to make it easy and consumable for them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so like start with those TikTok like cooking recipes. Like I know a lot of like there's like a lot of like one pot recipes. Like if you only got a one pot, then like those are for you,
Do
right?
it, man.
There's obviously a lot of options like pre-shredded cheese, pre-cut chicken. Like obviously some of them have like agents that like make them like stable in those states, but they're there for you to try and to use and to make it a little bit more easy for you.
Yeah.
Then once you kind of get the hang of it, then you start using your knives.
Yeah.
You start like cutting shit up. But
Yeah.
yes, learning cooking is super, super important in your 20s. Again, it's not wrong to learn in your 30s, but you will greatly benefit.
Yeah,
if you learn
like
now.
if you're someone who's like a teenager who's like turning 20 soon or like in your early 20s and you don't know how to cook, don't feel embarrassed.
Yeah.
But just understand that like like this is a skill you can't. Fuck, we sound like parents, like Jesus fucking
Yeah.
Christ. But for real, take initiative for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think the thing that scares people from learning how to cook is like you don't need to learn how to make these professional dishes or these.
You're not Gordon
complicated
Ramsay.
ass
You're not
dishes.
Gordon Ramsay.
No.
Like like as we always say, like start with the basics.
Uh-huh.
Eggs, chicken, rice, pasta,
Pasta.
vegetables. Like
Yeah.
learn how to steam vegetables.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
And
Like
apples.
oh yeah, apples.
Yeah, like
it's
fruits.
not-
Yeah, fruits. Yeah.
and it's not hard.
Grapefruit.
And like
If you know, you
or
know.
like from like my like teenagers who are like still in high school or like learning how to graduate high school, like if you got that like if you got extra time on your timetable, take that CTS class.
Take cooking
Yeah.
class.
Yo.
Take that
Oh
cooking
my
class.
gosh, please.
Yo, man, if you need some credits
It's
and
so
you need a
fun.
life skill, take that
CTS.
class.
It's so fun, bro.
It's
It's
in
so
a-
fun,
it's
and like
so
you get to
fun.
eat all the food that you make.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So good.
Even if it's bad, but you still got to eat
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
And,
If
oh,
it's
and
bad.
it's also like, and if you're a little bit scared to work in a team in those like CTS classes, learn how to cook by yourself because the only person that's gonna be eating your food will
Is you.
be you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
So
like maybe your homies.
yeah, and maybe your mom, but like
Yeah.
she won't judge you because she loves you.
Yeah, I hope.
This is some good corn and broccoli.
Damn, it's really crunchy.
Like, I love all the salt you have, and just shaking the corn, just salt like just falling off.
She's wiping the corn off.
Oh my god.
That's what mom does with fried chicken. She like when she fries the chicken, she puts it on the paper towel. I'm pretty sure that's it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. To get rid of
Yeah,
the
it's like
all
oil.
the grease.
Yeah, but like as a kid, I was like, no, I like the grease. Obviously now I understand. Like, yeah, but yeah. You want to go on this?
Yeah, sure. I think
it's-
like it's more of like a mindset, and it's like the most important mindset that you can have in your 20s is learn how to be comfortable outside of your comfort zone and learn
Yes.
how to be not so afraid of change, because as we said before, like your 20s are full of change. Like
Yep.
you'll be out of high school, you'll be graduate post-secondary. If you went to post-secondary, you'll be like making your if you got into if you got a job, you'll be making your first paycheck potentially,
Yeah.
and knowing how to handle money and stuff like that. Like maybe you'll get into like new relationships, new hobbies and stuff. It's full of change, and handle change, you need to be out of your comfort zone. Because if you're in your comfort zone and be like, oh man, I'm just so like, it's scary. I don't want to do it. I'm just gonna stay here and like do my own, keep doing my own thing, like just flat. You're not going to be as well off as if you were,
Risk takers. Yeah.
take that leap of faith sometimes. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, and that's fine. Like there's no more like linear path like as you did in junior high school, and like that safety net. So learning how to be uncomfortable and taking risks is super useful, because as we said, your 20s are full of change,
And you learn.
and you learn. Yeah, it's full of learning. And if you're always in your comfort zone, like, no, I'm gonna save as little as I can, like I'm just gonna go to work and stay home and watch Netflix and let my parents cook for me and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You're not gonna learn anything, and your parents and your friends are not always going to be there for you all the time. So
Yeah,
you need to be
that's
independent,
real.
and
And they're not able to sometimes.
and they're not
even
able
if they
to,
wanted to.
you know?
Yeah,
like getting real. Like in your 20s, you're not a kid anymore, and you need to like learn how to look out for yourself, and you need to learn these skills that we've talked about. Go out of your to being comfortable, because like no one's gonna look after you anymore. It's you. It's you.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's all I can say, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yes, sir.
I have like two. I'd say just learning that it's okay to fuck up at this age.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is the fuck up age. This is the
yes,
fuck
this
up
is
age.
the fuck up age.
Yeah, like you're
Redemption,
so used to
forgiveness.
having it work out for you, as a kid, because there's already like a clear path. People are literally ironing out for you when you're like a teenager.
Yeah.
because they're just literally pushing you.
Set.
You just do what you need to do, and that's it, until you start discovering like hobbies and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And that also relates to like knowing like when you're happy when you're 20, like around there. Because I think it's really important to know where your happiness is, and if you are unhappy with anything, then like just know for yourself, oh yeah, like I understand, like, and I'm unhappy with this, instead of being comfortable just being like, oh, I'll just sit through it.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll let time fix it.
Exactly.
The time heals.
Time
Like
heals.
it does, but
Time
like you can be
heals all
proactive.
relationships.
Yeah, but you have to like use that time. Using that time like helps, and that's proactive.
Yeah.
But like
Take your
just
time,
letting
not
it
wasting your
sit.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Not like waiting for people to just, oh, it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Yeah, and
Like,
that's
random
kind of like
proofs.
where I was going with like my comfort zone thing. Is like, you can't just let people decide.
Don't be reactive.
Yeah, you can't just like react to everything, right? Like you gotta take control of your own life sometimes.
Grab her by the nuts.
Yeah, and also like don't be bitter about anything, but like to have that as like a motivation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, we know, like there's obviously a toxic way of being, oh, we want what's best for you, because that's like controlling.
Yeah,
But to
it's
kind
like
of, like,
micromanaging
motivate,
kind of way.
yeah,
Yeah,
It's like, oh, I'll help you and try to push you into this and see if
Yeah.
you like it or not. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like having that. I actually had that as like a kid. When you do extracurriculars,
Mhm.
because you're actually trying things out. Like
Yeah.
keep doing that, like when you're growing up, instead of being steady
Yeah.
on, oh, I'm used to this already. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So the comfort zone thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all.
What's the most important life skill to learn and improve at during your 20s?
Smash.
Oh my god, I feel like there's so many, and the thing is, like, I guess this is a very subjective question of like what is important for myself. I think one of the most important things is like self-reflection on yourself and the people around you. I think kind of, because like we talked about like self-love of like taking yourself on a date and stuff like that.
Yeah. Body and hidden gem by yourself.
Literally, like I noticed that, especially before COVID, I used to go out. And I would consider myself more of an extrovert. I used to go out a lot, and I would never really take time to sit in my own thoughts.
Yeah.
And there's like that meme. It's like I need to keep busy so I don't have to sit with my own thoughts, right? But it's like, and this is like, I guess, a sense of like being uncomfortable. Be uncomfortable with yourself of like who the fuck you are. What do you want your identity to be? What do you want in life? Who do you want to become? And like what do you need to do to get there?
Yeah.
Some people use bullet journaling. Some people use like just literally self-reflection. But I think, a lot of the things you add to your schedule, like for some people, it is a choice of like what you can add. And like I know a lot of people have a fear of missing out, but one of the most important life skills I personally have is just, or like I've learned, is just the idea of like sitting in my thoughts and thinking about who I am and what do I want to do,
Mm-hmm.
right? And also thinking about the people around you, like again, like is a relationship solvable? Like like is this something in my capacity where I'm able to fix?
Yeah.
Or like obviously like it sucks because you don't want to let go of some of the friends you've had for a while, but sometimes things don't work out the way they want it to be, right? And just like really looking yourself in the mirror and asking like, are things working out the way I want them to be?
Mm-hmm.
Like what do I have control of and what do I do not have control of?
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I just think like self-reflection is just a great skill to have.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times, like when we're younger, in our younger 20s, we're so caught up in this hustle grind culture that
Mm-hmm.
self-reflection is like kind of put in the back burner. But like really ask yourself questions that you just make you uncomfortable, of like, what the fuck do I want? What do I want for the people around me? Who do I want to be? What do I want to become when I grow older? Like what do I want to do with my time? Like who am I in this world? And so like I personally, again, this is like a subjective question, like what I find most important is just like the self-reflection of like like what who you are.
And building off of that, like I know those are like super hard questions to ask yourself, like, oh, what do I want to be in life? Like I don't fucking know, and that's totally fine.
I still don't know.
That's totally fine.
Yeah, that's
I still
totally
don't
fine
know,
as
man.
long as you're constantly asking yourself those questions, and little by little you'll find stuff that you like, and you can build on like, oh, like I like this, like maybe I can pursue this or something like that, right? And like Lauren said, it's okay to fail. It's okay to not know what you want, but it's better to be uncomfortable acknowledging that you don't know what you want, and you like still have like some ways to go, versus just sitting there and be like, I'll just let life happen to me.
To fix a problem, the first step is to acknowledge it. Yeah.
And being uncomfortable and like asking yourself those questions, constantly like seeking to improve yourself, instead of just saying like, I'm content with where I am, like life happens, and just go with the flow,
Let the universe take
Let
me.
the
I think to add on, Vincent made a good point, like with like knowing what you want to do like in life, and like little by little you'll find out what you like to do, and you'll eventually end up making that your career some way, and like it's a good thing you said that, because your career doesn't have to be based on like everything you like, right?
Mm-hmm.
It can be based on like one specific aspect you really enjoy, right?
Yep.
And again, like nothing's going to be perfect with your career. Like you're not going to like all the aspects of what you do as a job, but that's what your hobbies and your passions and your habits are for. You know what I mean? So if you're really like set on like being a dancer, or if you're really set on being a professional video game player or
curling player,
or like or like a professional curling athlete, or a professional basketball player, or you just want to be an engineer, or you want to be like a businessman, just know that like that will always. So Lawrence has just stepped out for a little bit, but to continue on my point, like you're not gonna like every single aspect of your job or your career going forward, and you're always gonna have your complaints and whatever, but like that like you love this job because it you enjoy that one aspect of your life, and so if you are struggling to find a career path, or you are struggling to really figure out what you really want to do, you do have a handful of things you like, and it's not going to necessarily, your job is not necessarily going to meet all those requirements, you know what I mean? So just like obviously take your time choosing your career, but just know that realistically it's not going to be super picture perfect at the end of the day.
There's no perfect answer.
Yeah.
And I know it sounds very corny, but really it's not.
And your life is not like as we we're gonna body this one right after. But
Lord, I'm a sinner.
but, like,
I'm probably
our-
gonna sin again.
kind of like last points, like your career is not your life. It's not just like oh, I'm an engineer, that's all I do. It's really like your life, or so your career, your friendships, your relationships, your hobbies.
Yeah.
If you do any volunteering, it's made up of all of these things. So if you're like, oh, I don't know what career I like, it's like my life is over, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm running out of time. Like, don't sweat it too much. Like, as long as you make those baby steps and like you keep asking yourself, what could I be doing?
Yeah.
Like it's a step in the right direction, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that?
I think that's it.
That's it.
Yeah,
All
but
right.
That's great.
All right, guys. Let us know what you guys think the most important thing to learn in your mid-20s is, or what is one thing you hope to learn.
what have you
going
learned?
forward.
What have
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
learned?
So far.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
far. Like, doesn't matter if you're 18, 24, 36.
Is there any valuable information that you
52?
think that we could have learned? We could have talked
Yeah.
about. You
Yeah,
know.
exactly.
Yeah.
Cool. Hope you guys are staying healthy and well. We hope to see
No,
you
we're
guys
not.
soon. Because
We're
we
not.
are not.
But we're
As you can
happy.
see
We're
over
happy.
there.
We're happy.
We're
We're
happy.
funny.
But we're happy.
Hey, this is a cheat day, as we talked about
Yeah,
earlier.
exactly. All right, we love you.
It's Ramadan today.
We love you, and we hope you stay safe. Peace out, guys. Easy.
Bye.
See you next time.
See you next time.